What's going on, everybody? If you guys are interested in our 8 turbo V8 build, make sure to smash that subscribe button. As you can see in today's video, we have this nice box from Nitrous Express. And I've said, if our car doesn't make 1,000 horsepower at the wheels, I'm not going to be satisfied. So just for insurance purposes, we're going to add our Nitrous Express kit. In our last video, you'll notice that our exhaust sides on our turbos finally got some heat into them. And they've turned a nice burned color now. Nitrous Express box? Oh yeah! Isn't that pretty? From Nitrous Express, this is their InstaBoost digital EFI system with the 10-pound bottle. As you can see, 10-pound bottle. It comes with both solenoids and the lines to hook it up, and your one fogger jet. Comes with the bottle brackets, relay, and it does come with this cool programmable piece here. So we're going to be able to utilize this on and off boost or in a selected RPM range, so we don't have to use the nitrous all the time, and it's going to be there if we need it. So in a single fogger kit like we have here, they actually give you a bunch of nitrous and fuel jets, and you use them accordingly to what size shot you want in your car. They can range for anything from 35 up to 175, I do believe. And it's just different size orifices that allow more fuel and nitrous to be injected. We're probably not going to need all 175, but like a good 100 shot slap in the ass is probably good. So first things first, we're going to find a location for this bottle, and I'm thinking... There's rubber everywhere on the floor right here. I think we'll pull the old Brian E. O'Connor here and mount that right there. Just so I can reach it with my hand while I'm sitting right here. That shirt though.
That shirt.
That shop shirt in the merch store. Well, Dan's sorting out the clamp issues. I have another issue on my hands. The problem we have now is that you're supposed to mount this in front of the throttle body, but our throttle body is right here, and there's no pipe in front of it outside the car to mount it in, except for this one. But this one goes through the car, and this is pre-intercooler. And you kind of want to put it post-intercooler, so you can see our predicament as the intercooler is hidden in behind this thing and behind the dash. Okay, we got lucky here. There's actually clamps. I don't know if you can see them down there on the intercooler. Don't mind the mess of wires and the intercooler welding. That was not me. That's how I got the car. But we can pull this pipe off from the inside here, and then we can weld a bung in it and then put it back in. And what are you chatting about back here?
I think the bottle's going to be better this direction. I was going to put it across, but...
Yeah, that's the direction I had it.
Oh. I wasn't in the car then.
Stupid ass.
It wasn't my fault I wasn't in the car. Couldn't see.
Good slave. While Dan's installing the bottle there, we actually bought a mini lathe. This one is 7x14 or 7x16, something like that. Just something that we can learn and see if we actually like having a lathe in here. It'll be mainly used for small bushings or turning down small things or just generic little nitpicky things that if we needed to do something, we have the accessibility to do it now. So we bought a cool little tool. This was under $1,000 Canadian, shipped to my house. And yeah, that should be a nice little addition to the shop. This is the only way I can reach this bolt. Oh my God, did they really do what I think they did?
This is the wrong angle, Kyle. I'm going to the other side.
I'll get it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Be happy.
For those of you that can't see, there is one hand coming up from underneath.
I'm a professional installer. Oh, you know what I should do?
What?
I should mark where I want to weld the bung. Here's our 4-inch pipe that goes from our intercooler to our throttle body up here. We're going to mount it right here, and this way we can stuff all of our solenoids and stuff inside behind that dash panel. I have a couple of these jigs, 1/8 MPT bungs lying around, so we're just going to weld one of these in there, make it super easy to put that in, and we'll fire up our Everlast welder. Drill holes. Drill holes. Yeah, it's not very thick wall stuff. Jeez. Some cheap aluminum. That's the one. and that'll get the job done. As you can see, not perfect. Nothing I do is ever perfect, but that should hold some boost. There you go. The bung is right there. As you can see, we're going to have room right here if we want to mount the solenoids inside the car. I don't know how good it is to have nitrous inside the car, but I really don't have anywhere else to put it, so it's kind of where it's got to go. This, you can see that there's actually an orientation that it has to go. You want this end pointing towards the throttle body. That's where the nitrous and the fuel get mixed in this little end here. And with a single nozzle like this, you don't actually have to tune anything through the ECU. The tuning is done by changing the size of the fuel in the nitrous jets. Fun fact for everyone, Dan.
What's that?
I know you know this as well, but nitrous isn't actually flammable.
No, it's not.
No, it just has a higher oxygen content than atmospheric air does.
Very high oxygen content. And it's cold.
And it's cold. So the real benefit you get from nitrous is you're adding more air to the cylinder, just like you would with a turbo. With a turbo, you just like compress the air more. With nitrous, there's just more oxygen in the same square foot of oxygen, if that makes sense. So you can add more fuel, and adding the more fuel is what actually gives you more power. And in order to get this pipe back in, we actually had to take the top hat of the intake manifold off because we couldn't get the coupler to line up because it is a little bit offset. So that's just 4 bolts. Comes off with our oiling rails too, so we'll have to bolt this back up. How you making out back there, Dan?
Oh, just playing. You know, learning riv nut things.
Yeah, we're just gonna rib nut it to the floor back there.
I need a vacuum.
Okay, I can get you a vacuum. Well, Dan's getting the bottle brackets ready in the car still. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and find a place that we can mount our solenoids that we can use the lines that are actually in the kit. Because they're a certain length, we have to mount the solenoids a certain distance away. So we'll try and find a spot to mount those things, and we'll see what we come up with here. Well, I had to go inside and do a poop, because I know you guys was pooping right now, too, while you're watching this.
I was wondering if you were watching your own videos.
But Dan got the bottle mounted in here. We just mounted it to this little panel, the floor delete panel there. It does have to be riveted in fully, and the other one has to be screwed in, but right in the middle, I can grab it here, turn it on myself if I need to, and then we'll eventually put the CO2 bottle up here somewhere, I think. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, you can see that little factory piece in here. We're just gonna self-tap these things into that piece right there. And then that's where it should go, and then our lines go into here. So I'll do that in the morning, because I'm going inside now. We're back, it's the next day. I'm McLovin. We made a parts run. We got some self-tappers. If you guys have watched my channel previously, you'll know that half the car is held together by self-tapping screws. That's just the way I bought it. So why we're in the tradition. Some washers, some rivets. That's where we mounted our solenoids right there. You can see they just self-tap to the firewall, and then both lines run from the back sides of them and then into that nozzle. So our nozzle's currently hooked up to the solenoids. Now we need to get nitrous and fuel to the solenoids, and then electrical power to them. Next up, we have to find a spot to put our cool little electronic board here in the car, and it comes with the whole wire harness, which is really nice. All right, so after consulting myself and then telling Dan what to do and not caring about his opinion, I'm probably just gonna use the Holly to control this thing. After looking at it, this kit, I didn't look into it too much before I got it, but this kit requires so many inputs that the Holly's already receiving. So you would add like boost or TPS or whatever that you want into this thing, wideband. And the Holly's already getting all of that. And in the Holly, you can actually configure like whatever parameters you can think of, you can add it to the nitrous. So if you want it to be above a certain RPM, above a certain boost pressure, below a certain RPM, below a certain boost pressure, and anywhere in between, the Holly will take all that, program it, send it out through one single wire to your relay to turn on the nitrous. So we're going to end up using the Holly. The only downside is that the reason that I wanted the kit and thought it would be simpler is that we only have 4 inputs, 4 outputs in the Holly, and we lose another output. So eventually maybe we'll upgrade to a Dominator when we redo the wiring in this thing, but for now I think we're going to use the Holly, make it simple, one single relay to run our 2 solenoids, 1 wire going to that relay from the Holly. Holly has all the sensors that it needs, we'll just program it that way. Conveniently, well, not conveniently enough, because look at the wiring mess in here. This is so rat's nest garbage, and I've really got to redo it, just not today. We end up putting our relay right here, These are our wires that come from our solenoids in here. I also bought one of these from Princess Auto, which is going to be neat because it's just got all assortments of wires in it. And we're going to hook up this relay. The solenoids are in there. They're wired up. This is going to be our signal wire that goes to the Holly that we have to wire in. So technically when we round this one, the solenoid should do clickety-clack things. Technically, maybe. We don't have power, Dan. All right, technically, because we have power up here, this, when we ground this one, it should make the things do the things.
Clicky.
Uh-oh, skiddios. Oh, I did it backwards. I grounded the others. This has to get power. This is a temp like 47 to make these things clickety-clack. I actually have to put this to 12 volts in order to get them to turn on because I realized I grounded the other side of the relay. Hold this. I just want to feel if they're clacking because I can hear the relay, but I can't hear the solenoids. I do not feel the solenoids. Maybe there's no... that might do it.
That's
the clickety noises. I realized where we were pulling power from actually comes from this switched ignition, so yeah. So that's it, that's nitrous. Basically, when we tell the Holly to turn this 12 volts to this, it's gonna do this, and that's it. You're spraying nitrous in the engine. Nitrous installs are pretty easy.
Horrible.
I have a feeling you're like pointing up at the windshield, by the way.
You're in the side of the camera.
Fun. We did it though. That's pretty, that's not bad.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
So now we have to button up the back there. We'll put the panels back in. That's your job, technically.
Yep.
And my job is going to be
200 horsepower of nitrous.
yeah.
Yay.
Old dandy boys getting it all riveted back into place. Our panels back there. So we do have a free output right there called shift light. I don't know why we have a shift light or need a shift light, but there is one for shift light. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some fun stuff in the Holly here now. Close this. We can add from our toolbox individual config. There's actually a nitrous setup, so it makes it super easy. Single stage wet. There's even a progressive one there. Then if we go to the side here where it says GPOs, it gives you a bunch of types that you can use, and they give you based on RPM, turn on based on RPM, turn off based on RPM, turn on boost, turn on nitrous percentage, and turn on when AFR cut. Gives you a whole bunch of options here to set up your parameters. So likely what we'll be using is RPM and boost based, and probably throttle based as well. You know what? That's annoying. We're gonna build our own output. So we're gonna go nitrous, and then we're gonna go, and now you can just do any number of switched outputs and switched inputs that you want. So I'll build a little table and I'll show you what I did. And it's as simple as that. You can add whatever else you want from the list of stuff down here. But essentially we have it activate when boost is above 2 PSI but below 20, TPS above 70%, RPM. So these are just basic settings I put in according to get it to spool faster. And if we wanted it for full power, it would be when boost is above 2 PSI, and then you can just deactivate this one and it'll just be above 2 PSI. And then, yeah, you want your RPM window because you don't want to smash the rev limiter while nitrous is on. And then you would just go to pin map. You would take your outputs and you would remove the shift light. I don't know if this will even work in there. No, it won't. We have to reconfigure it, but this is where it will end up going. We might have to rewire it also to ground instead of put positive to it, but that's fairly simple to do as well. So on the Nitrous Express website here, you can go to their jet sizing, and they have all sorts of charts. We're going to be using this one specifically because we have 3-bar base fuel pressure, and we want a 100 shot. So we're looking at the first two columns, the N2O and the gas. and it looks like we need a 52 N2O and a 30 gas. We don't have exactly what we need. What we were looking for was a 52 and a 30. What we do have is a 52 and a 31. So these are the pills we'll put in there. And as you can see, that pill kind of just fits in the nozzle there, and then it has the right taper on it that an AN line just screws into it. So that's gonna work out perfect for us there. There we go. Nitrous bottles in the back there. Nitrous solenoids all done up front. The only thing to do now is to put a decnal on the back. Kind of got messed up during shipping a little bit. Put a decnal on the back. Boom, professional. The last thing that really needs to be done is we need to get a fuel line from our fuel rail into the car. I don't have the proper fitting here for it the way I want to do it, but we're going to get a fitting that goes between, so it's a -8 male to -8 female with a 1/8 port in it, and then we can use the port to go into our regulator, and then that's it. So essentially, the quickest and easiest way to add horsepower to any engine is going to be a quick shot of nitrous. It's going to be the cheapest way because you can get your hands on a Nitrous Express kit for like 600 bucks. It's not cheap if you don't tune it correctly, because then all your pistons don't want to be pistons anymore. It's a simple couple hour install for like the basic kit if you just want to run it off a couple of switches, and the easiest way to do it. We added it because why not? We're at that point where we're just, why not? If I could find a cheap blower that would fit up front somewhere, I would add it, but unfortunately like a crank drive Pro Charger is super expensive, and it just doesn't make sense to do it. But that's gonna be it for this video. I got something to show you inside, so I'll see you there. All right, we're down in the office here. I'm just editing the video, but I'm gonna make this because I printed off our photos. We do have our Patreon thing set up here for anybody who wants to contribute a little bit extra to the channel, and we've decided to give back to our top tiers. This is mainly Virginia's idea, so shout out to her. We do have these printers that print off high quality 4x6s, and we have a ton of this 4x6 paper from when Virginia had a photography business. So we have 13 real MVP top tier Patreons currently. The link is down below, and we're gonna send out a photo to each one of them. And we've been choosing thumbnail photos, so I chose this one specifically because this is probably the most fun I've had drag racing. The day that Virginia and I both went to the track, we raced each other. I was in that blue Mustang, she was in the Hellcat, and she beat me by 0.0043 of a second. It was the closest race I've ever had in my life. It was the most excitement I think I've ever had at the drag strip. And so I'll sign this, Virginia will sign this, she's agreed to sign it as well, and we'll get these shipped out to our top tier Patreons. I'll probably give it another week before we send these ones out, just in case anybody else wants to sign up and receive this first photo. We'll probably be giving them out periodically, maybe every month, I don't know, maybe every second month, I haven't decided yet, but we'll see how this first one goes. I actually printed out an extra one for me. I'm going to start framing them and putting them on the wall behind us so we can keep track of them. And then I think what I'll do, you guys remember the golden fuckboy wall in the garage? People keep asking me, how do I get on that wall? How do I get on the wall? And that was specifically for our first Patreons when we did this the first time. We since then have deleted it, and then we remade it again because YouTube doesn't allow me to do what I want to do with it. But I think because we've grown, we'll leave the ones that are on the wall there. They deserve it. But to get on the wall now, if you remain top tier for a year, I'll put your name on the wall. I think that sounds fair. Anyways, hate to ramble on. Peace easy and get heavy.